Hashem na'aseh v'natzliach, Shiur Torah, Bruchim HaBaim. Nice to see a couple of new faces, a couple of old faces. We're back here in Aventura doing our Era of Mashiach series. Baruch Hashem, this series has gotten probably the best feedback we've gotten out of any of the series is from the start. Shtabach Shemo. And it seems like lots of people can relate to it because of the things they're experiencing and not necessarily just reading. This is not one of those theoretical series. This is more of a reality. Today, when I was learning with Rabbi Ephraim about it for the shiur, before we started, he said, listen, I don't even know if you need to study this particular part. I said, why? He says, because this has been your life for the last 2 weeks. So you probably don't need to, you're just going to read your life. Shtabach Shemo La'ad. I said, Ad matai reshaim ya'alozu. Ad matai. Until when, Hashem? Until when, Hashem, the reshaim will do well, exalt. David HaMelech asks in Tehillim number 94. Because when, if you see a Rasha do chuva, it gives other people hope. Oh, see, no, there's good in everyone, and so on. When you see a Rashaim get worse, sometimes it weakens you. It's like, come on, how come they're winning? They're Rashaim. But Baruch Hashem, Shtabach Shemo. In the end, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will take care of everything, don't worry. Today's shiur will be for a refuah shlema and hatzlacha rabba to Rabbanit Levana bat Sarah, Rav Ephraim ben Shulamit, Rabbanit Sarah bat Anat, David ben Nesriya, Doris bat Jora, Esther bat Tzipora, Dvora bat Mercedes, Elisheva Chaya bat Sarah, Orit bat Ilana, Yitro ben Avraham, Talia bat Sarah, Batya bat Sarah, Serach bat Batya, Sarah bat Levana, and Atzlacha Rabba to Shaul ben Farzane, Oshri ben Doris, Gabi ben Doris, Elad ben Doris, and Yitro ben Avraham, and all of Am Yisrael, especially the ones that are partners with Irgun Be'ezrat Hashem that help us do all, Baruch Hashem, all of the kiruv that we're doing every day. The one consistent good news that we have is that there's more peilut, more action, more ba'alei tshuva. Every day, Shtabach Shemo La'ad. Every day we look at the statistics, we see the emails. I can't catch up, emails. I tell you guys, don't even email me anymore. There's maybe a handful of people that I am still in touch with on email. The rest of it has simply become spam. I just can't catch up because by the time I get to answer 300, 400, 500 questions a day on WhatsApp and text messaging, it's 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. It just doesn't end. Shtabach Shemo. But the good news is there's a lot more people that are watching the shiurim from all over the world. I have people in Japan, in Australia, the Netherlands, quite a few people in France, Mexico, Brazil, all over the United States. Pretty much at this point it's everywhere. We even had at some point someone in Bali, listen to the shiurim, in Indonesia, all types of wonderful places. I even have some people from Saudi Arabia and Abu Dhabi listening to it. And interestingly enough, some of them are Jews and some of them are non-Jews. They listen to the shiurim and love it. You see some in the comments on the YouTube or sometimes Facebook. You see some people from different countries say hello. And it's unbelievable how many people are watching the shiurim. And every day there's more people. Every day there's new people that are taking on mitzvot, keeping Shabbat, and so on and so forth, saying that the shiurim are very relevant to their life. And it's really matana mishamayim. It's a present from heaven to be used as a vessel for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to get his children to come back. But on the other hand, you have to, the more success you have, the more difficulty you have. It's just a simple factor of life, especially when it comes to the issues of kedusha. If you guys remember, I taught you a little midrash from the Zohar that I learned from my Rav, that it says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has certain ways that he built the world. Just like he has measure for measure, where there is if a person steals, Hashem will punish that person partially by having someone else steal from them. So he stole something when he was 20 years old, and he got away with it, or at least he thinks he did. 20, 30, 40, 50 years later, he's already ready for retirement. He worked all of his life, he made some money. He forgot about the money that he stole when he was 20 from some poor old man. Then all of a sudden he's 60 years old. He says, you know what, let me invest my money in a safe investment. This guy works for a big firm, looks like he's well-to-do, his house is bigger than a castle. Yeah, okay, I'm going to give him the money. And he feels comfortable with his investment. Not a year or two pass, and he finds out that his investment advisor is no longer in the office. So he turns on the news to see what's going on in the stock market. Maybe the market's down, so the advisor is hiding or something, but instead of looking at the market, he sees breaking news. And then he sees his advisor, and a name on the news was just shut down by the SEC for running a Ponzi scheme, running through hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, and it's all gone. Which means that this person that stole 20, 30, 40 years ago says, I'm a victim, I can't believe it, my life savings. He stops crying, rips his hair out. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, what are you crying? What are you crying? What are you crying? You stole. Measure for measure. You stole. Someone had to steal from you. It's much better if they steal from you, because if I deal with you up there, Hashem Yishmo. Hashem says Hashem Yishmo already. How bad punishment for somebody else? So a lot of people say they're victims, but in reality, HaKadosh Baruch Hu runs the world with measure for measure. But at the same time, there's other things, there's other principles, if you will, or rules that Hashem instilled into His own creation. And one of them is called Ze Keneged Ze Bara Elokim. Hashem put everything with a opposite measure. So just like there's light, there's darkness. Tall, short, fat, skinny, good looking, then there's me. Ishtabach Shemo, all types of things. So you have all types of things like this. But what about the heavens? So the Zohar Kadosh says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself has a Kisei HaKavod. The Kisei HaKavod, all the special Jewish neshamot are under the Kisei HaKavod. He has 4 dmuyot, 4 images in each side of the Kisei HaKavod of the kings of creation, meaning that he put into the world the lion and the animals, the eagle and the birds, the ox, and the cattle and human being, which is, by the way, the image of Yaakov Avinu. That's why when Yaakov fell asleep on the rock, it says that the malachim olim v'yordim bo. The malachim were going up and down, up and down. What are they going up and down for? Why are they going up and down? So one of the midrashim says because they couldn't understand, how is Yaakov here in the Kisei HaKavod, but he's also down there? Wait, he's down there? Yeah, go over there, go check. He's there. But how is he still over there? Yeah, he's still up there. How is he in both places? They see Mamash, Yaakov Avinu, in the Kisei HaKavod. So what about this Kisei HaKavod? Zohar Kadosh teaches us that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, just like he made a Kisei HaKavod for himself, he also made a Kisei HaKavod to the Satan. And the Satan is in essence a king. He's a king. He's a king that HaKadosh Baruch Hu obviously is the king of kings, but the Satan himself is a king that is allowed to do things under the authority of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And the king, what does a king have? If a king was by himself on an island, is he really a king? No, he's just some lonely guy that's like his best friend is a ball or something. What is a king? What does a king have? A king has servants. A king has servants. So this malach called the Satan, the malach HaMavet, the Yetzer Hara, Gemara Masechet Brachot says all 3 are the same. And he has many names. Moshe Rabbeinu called him Ra. And each one of the sages had a different name for him. Why do we care about so many names? Because he comes to you in different ways. Sometimes he comes to you looking like this. Sometimes he comes to you looking like that. Sometimes he comes to you looking at like BDS. Sometimes it's Black Lives Matter. Sometimes it's this one. Sometimes it's that one. He comes to you in different ways. Sometimes he's George Soros. Sometimes he's the guy that says he's against George Soros, but in reality he's a bigger Rasha. All types of ways. Shtabach Shemolad, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives the Satan, go. Why? I barati Yetzara, barati Torah Tavlin. I created a Yetzara that's stronger, smarter, and bigger than all of creation. But I created one thing that is a potion to destroy him. What? Torah. In essence, obligating us to learn Torah in order to survive. So the Satan has a kisei kavod, and most of the work, the Satan has what? Servants. The king has servants. So he has servants. Where do these servants come from? The Mishnah in Pirkei Avot says, when you make a mitzvah, you create an angel that's going to help you make more mitzvot. When you make an avera, when you make a sin, you create an angel that's going to help you make more sins. So who are these angels? All of those angels that help you make more sins, they are the servants of the Satan. Bechavod, if you could move the bag, put it over here, and that's it. So Satan has many, many servants, and unfortunately, every time we make sins, we're helping him. We're helping him make more servants. We have helping him. And usually, most of the things that you see, whether it be on the news, and in the media of some aspect, or the things you see in your day-to-day life, things that are happening, whether it's somebody that's innocent getting beat up, or some store burning down, or some politician saying things against Am Yisrael, or some atheist going against God publicly, all types of things like this, that's usually the Satan's servants, different servants that he has. Satan doesn't get out of that chair so easily. When does he get out of the chair? When you start destroying his employees and stealing some of them. How can you possibly destroy Satan's employees and steal some of them at the same time? When you help people do tshuva. When you help people do tshuva, whether it's because you donated money, time, skill, whatever it is, you help people do tshuva, but seriously, not like one time you gave a CD and hope for the best. You seriously help people do tshuva, then you're not only destroying some of his employees, but you're actually stealing some of them. You're destroying them because the person that used to make a lot of sins and make a lot of new employees for the Satan is no longer making employees. In fact, he's making angels. Angels that are positive, angels that are good, angels that will give him power to do more mitzvot. So in essence, you're destroying, with those mitzvot, you are destroying all of the bad angels. So how are you stealing some of the employees? The guy himself that did tshuva used to be himself, the sinner, the rasha, the mechalel Shabbat, the kofer, the atheist, the guy that was liberal, the modern mentality, used to be an employee of the Satan himself with so many angels he was making. He was a little factory for the Satan. And now, he now works for Hashem. Why? You help him do tshuva. You can move the bags, put them on the floor. They're not Sefer Torah, you can put them on the floor. So, the beauty is that when a person does kiruv, he's not only destroying the Satan's helpers, but even more so, he's stealing some of them. Gives Satan less power. That's the good news. What's the bad news? Satan don't like it. Zohar Kadosh, the Zohar Kadosh says he doesn't like it so much that he himself gets up off the throne of glory that he has and he fights you head on. Which means anyone that's doing very serious kiruv, by default, you want to know if you're working or not. People say, I don't know if if what I'm doing is working. People always ask me, how do I know if my tshuva is working? Well, you don't know if your tshuva is working based on Hashem sending you some type of text message. If your tshuva is working is if you're changing. If you're becoming a better person. If you're all of a sudden more kind, if you're all of a sudden less angry, if you're more generous, if you're a better version of yourself, if you start falling in love with Torah, if you want to learn more and more, you can't get enough, you're helping other people do tshuva, you're doing a lot of things that the Torah says, tshuva is working. If you're not doing anything that I just said, then obviously tshuva is not working. How do you know if your kiruv is working? How do you know if your kiruv is working? What, if you get a bunch of text messages, that means your kiruv is working? No. Lots of people get text messages. Lots of people get emails. Lots of people get fan mails. Even Reshaim. In fact, Reshaim get more. How do you know if your kiruv is working? One of the ways, Satan fights you. You have unusual tests, you have unusual battles, you have unusual enemies. You know, if, let's say, some Nazi walked in and said, I hate Jews. Okay. Normal. Nazis, that's their job. You can't blame the shark for eating a person. He's hungry. That's what he does. A Nazi hates Jews. That's what he does. There's nothing unusual about it. But if a rabbi with a beard, as long as the exile shows up and he says all types of things, and he goes against you and he starts torturing you, that's a good sign that the Satan is behind it. What if 5 do? What if 10 do? What if 100 do? Either you're a kofel, and in reality you have to do tshuva, or the Satan has many soldiers and some of them have beards. Now, all of this is in a Zohar Kadosh. And we've spoken about it before. And Rav Wasserman and Allah Shalom talked to us a little bit about the end of days, what's going to happen before Mashiach. Over the last several weeks that we've been reviewing is Ikvita de Mashiach. And last week he talked a little bit about the Erev Rav, the wicked people that would be leaders in the end of the generations, but now he goes into more specifics. This section, he calls it HaRo'im. HaRo'im means the shepherds. Shepherds meaning the leaders of the sheep. Who are the sheep? Us, Am Yisrael. We're the sheep. Who is the Ro'im? The leaders. Whether it be the rabbis, political leaders, big machers, the people that have a lot of money that are donating to build the next yeshiva. That's the leaders. And he's talking about the leaders of the last generation before Mashiach, the time of Mashiach. Now remind you that this whole book was written years before the Holocaust. It wasn't written today. So if a lot of things sound to you like it's today, don't be fooled. It's from 100 years ago almost, 90 years ago. Just sounds a little bit identical to today. A little bit. Just only 100%. Only 100% like today. Only 100%. Nothing more, nothing less. So, Rav Wasserman Allah Shalom starts the following. He says, Yecheskel, the prophet Ezekiel, in chapter 34, paints a faithful picture of the generation before the times of Mashiach and the leaders of that generation. Yecheskel, if you want to see the verses themselves, you go into Yecheskel chapter 34, and it's in essence the whole section really, but he is specifically highlighting, I would say, probably the first 20 verses. First 20 verses, HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Yecheskel some interesting things about what's going to happen before Mashiach comes. He says, the word of Hashem came to me, Yecheskel says. Ben Adam, he calls Yecheskel Ben Adam, son of man. Prophecy against the shepherds of Israel. Prophecy and say to them, to the shepherds, meaning go talk to the leaders, tell them. Not just the leaders of 3,000 years ago. Leaders of 2020 according to the Christians. Leaders of 5780. Leaders of today. Leaders of 90 years ago at the time of the Rav Wasserman. Says, thus says the Lord Hashem, woe to the shepherds of Israel who have tended themselves. Is it not the flock that the shepherds should tend to? Meaning, you shepherds, you leaders, woe unto you. You're going to get a trach from Hashem soon. You're going to get one of those chapchot that's going to take you to Gehenom and never come back. Why? Instead of worrying about my flock, my sheep, my people, you're worried about your pocket. You're worried about yourself. The choicest you eat, the wool you wear, and the healthiest you slaughter. But the rest of the flock you do not tend to. He says there are only certain types of people you deal with. The choicest. You know, Those people that happen to have a lot of money, they're always at the rabbi's house. How come? How come? How come the people that have the most amount of money tend to always be next in the rabbi's pocket? The wool you wear, those same people. How come you always get along with them? But the guy that asked you a question and during your shiur that was something you didn't know about, you didn't like him so much. The healthiest you slaughter, healthy bank accounts, healthy connections. But the rest of the flock, you don't tend to. The guy tells you, listen, Rabbi, how come it says over here in the parasha this week, Parashat Shlach, it says that the guy violated Shabbat and Hashem killed him. The guy here has been driving to shul for 20 years. How come you don't say nothing? How come you don't say? Half the keilah drives to shul, Rabbi. That's worse than Tzlof Chad that was gathering some wood. Half the keilah is burning thousands of fires just to come to shul. How come you don't say nothing? I spoke to one of these Erev Rav last week, and I was looking for a new community to move to, and I asked him, what about your community? You have a iruv? He goes, no, my community, I don't have an iruv. So how long you have your community? He said, 15 years. 15 years you have a community, 15 years you have a shul, no iruv? How do you function? How do you function? That means if you don't have any iruv, that means you cannot carry anything outside, which means if you're a parent, you have kids, you can't go outside with the carriage. If your kid starts crying, you can't pick him up. Pretty much you can't function without an iruv. How do you have a community? If it's a brand new community, a year, 2, 3, hard to get an iruv, government approval, all types of things. Fine, no problem. 15 years, no iruv. So I asked him, maybe it's financial problems, maybe? You guys need some money, maybe so. He goes, no, it's not that. No, we have the money. So, what's missing? He goes, I just need to get some time. 15 years, not enough time. I just need to get some time to get the job done, and then, it's not really relevant. I said, why not? He says, it's sus ve'agala. He says, it's a horse and carriage keilah. What does it mean, horse and carriage keilah? The whole keilah drives to shul. The whole keilah drives to shul. Rabbi that has a whole keilah drive to shul should cry to Hashem tears of blood until they stop driving. After 15 years, you haven't gotten them to get to a point of keeping Shabbat, you should shut down the shul and bring a real rabbi. Why? It's not working, your system. It's not working. 15 years, they're still driving on Shabbat. 15 minutes. They should already know it's wrong. A few months, they should make some changes. I know it's hard to get them to change on day one. But 15 years? I've seen that story, unfortunately, many times, even on my own skin. 15 years, they came to my office 2, 3 times a week. Not a single time they tell me about Shabbat. But any time there's an opportunity to be on the news, first one's on there. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to these shepherds that they don't tend to the people that ask these tough questions about Tzlof Chad, of how come Tzlof Chad got killed and we're allowed to violate Shabbat according to the rabbis. The frail you did not strengthen, the ill you did not cure, the broken you did not bind, the banished you did not retrieve, for the lost you did not search. Rather you subjugated them with force and with rigor. Thus they became scattered for lack of a shepherd, and became food for every beast of the field. They became scattered. My sheep wander on all the mountains and upon every high hill. My sheep have scattered upon the whole face of the earth, but no one seeks and no one searches. Therefore, O shepherds, hear the words of Hashem. As I live, meaning Hashem is making a swear. The word of the Lord Hashem, I swear that because my sheep have become spoils, and my sheep have become food for every beast of the field, for lack of a shepherd, meaning it's nobody's fault. Don't think, no, it's the environment, it's America, it's Israel, it's the internet, it's the modern society, it's the iPhone. No. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, no. I swear I'm going to give you the reason. I swear I'm going to give you the reason. What's the reason? It's because of shepherds. That's the reason. For the lack of a shepherd, and my shepherds did not seek out my sheep, for the shepherds tended themselves. Why didn't the guy tell him, stop driving on Shabbat? Because he's too busy counting the money the guy donated on Shabbat. My flock, therefore, shepherds, hear the word of Hashem. Thus says the Lord Hashem, behold, I am against the shepherds, and I will seek out my flock from their hand, and I will cause them to cease herding sheep, and the shepherds will no longer tend themselves. Thus I will rescue my sheep from their mouths, and they will no longer be food for them. For thus said the Lord Hashem, behold, I am here. I will seek out my sheep, and I will tend them. As a shepherd tends his flock on the day he is among the shepherds, the separated sheep, so I will lend to my sheep and rescue them from all the places where they were scattered on the day of the cloud and the thick cloud. So here he continues on and on. Eventually he talks about him bringing a Kadosh Baruch Hu, bringing Mashiach. But first and foremost, he says, before I bring Mashiach, I'm going to close my account with who? The one person that's constantly at fault for the last 3,000 years. Who? The shepherd. Now, Rav Wasserman goes into details of some of the terms used here in this section that HaKadosh Baruch Hu uses, and we see that this also coincides, asides with my life, it also coincides b'siyata dishmaya also with the parasha. Last week, HaKadosh Baruch Hu got very upset at Am Yisrael, where it says that they were mitonenim. Mitonenim meaning they were complaining too much. They were complaining too much about the manna, even though it could taste like whatever they want. It wasn't good enough for them. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu killed some people after he fed them to the point where they started vomiting stuff. He started killing some people. Who did he kill? The leaders. Then this week, Parashat Shlach, Am Yisrael makes some more sins with the meraglim, the spies. Everybody starts complaining again. HaKadosh Baruch Hu kills people again. Who does he kill? The leaders again. How come he keeps killing the leaders? Why didn't he kill the people that sinned? Why does he keep killing the leaders? He says, if you are a shepherd, and you're not going to be a shepherd at the same time, meaning you're going to benefit the salary of the shepherd, you're going to benefit the kavod, the honor of the shepherd, you're going to benefit in all aspects, but not actually be a shepherd that's going to hit the sheep when necessary. Tell them to stop complaining, tell them to do tshuva, then you are at fault. It's not the sheep's fault. Why? What do the sheep know? They're just sheep. They need a shepherd to tell them where to go. Sometimes you have to tell them where to go with a staff. Go here, go there, go here, go there. Sometimes it's with a stick. Stop going there. Someone asked me, Rabbi, I'm thinking about investing into a night kollel. A dear person to me. I'm thinking about investing into a night kollel for people to learn Kabbalah. What do you think? Now, theoretically speaking, sounds fantastic. More Kabbalah in the world, more Torah in the world, especially at night, fantastic. What was the answer? Terrible idea. How could you say it's contradicting? Was the rabbi senile? No, not senile, Baruch Hashem. I even double checked with my Rav. He said worse than me. Why? You see, Rabotai, Kabbalah is for the elite, the ones that have mastered the basics, mastered the Shulchan Aruch, mastered the Gemara, meaning completed the entire Shas several times, mastered the Shulchan Aruch several times completed, mastered the Midrashim, mastered the Chumash, mastered the Tanakh, mastered all of the basics. And only after they've mastered it, maybe go into that world, maybe. Not even by default. Maybe. There's some serious Talmidei Chachamim, don't even bother. Why? Says, I'm still not a master of the basics. What do you mean? You finished the shots 5 times, 10 times. Yeah, maybe another 90 times. Maybe I'll get to, maybe it'll be enough. Maybe. Hopefully. Bezrat Hashem. Bezrat Hashem, maybe at 100 times I'll understand something. Most people think they finished Daf Yomi for 2-3 tractates. They already think themselves a Talmid Chacham. You finished a book by some modern author. Oh, Rabbi, I just finished a book by Rabbi such and such. I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, you know what you're talking about. A lot. People don't understand what Talmid Chacham is. So people want to go into the mystical. They want to go into the, further reach. Something that's harder to get, out of grasp. Maim gnuvim imtaku. Stolen water are sweeter. And the reality is, you see, we don't live in a generation full of Gaon Mivilnas and Arizals. We live in a generation of people that eat pig. We live in a generation of people that barely believe in God, even if they have a beard and a kippah and a shtreimel and everything else that you want. They look religious, but they act worse than goyim sometimes. And sometimes they're not religious, but they're decent people. They just don't know why. They just don't know why they're not religious. We live in a generation of people that either eat pig or act like a pig, or sometimes both. A generation like that, you don't teach them Kabbalah. When you have somebody come to you, and you just find out that he's eating pig, first thing you need to do, stop him from eating pig. Second, explain to him the different levels of kashrut. You don't tell him, listen, stop eating pig, but only eat Bet Yosef from this shchita, from this rabbi, he's an expert. No. Just stop eating pig first. Eat tomatoes for all I care. Eat potatoes. Eat, basic level rabbanut kashrut. Eat, just stop eating pig. That's the first thing you do. Then after you stopped eating pig, then you start telling him, listen, there's kosher meat. There's the basic level rabbanut, but then there's badatz. Then there is the, Bet Yosef. Then there's the higher level shchita. Then there's, even if you want to go to, you have some money, you get your own private shochet. Your private butcher if you want. But point being is, I'm not going to teach you that on day one. It may take you 5-10 years to get to that lesson. But my responsibility today, get you to stop eating pig. When you have a generation full of people that eat pig and act like pigs, you don't teach them Kabbalah. Why? It's not relevant to them. Now, although learning Kabbalah, learning any type of Torah, brings more kedusha to the world, that can influence people to do tshuva, the reality is, as much as that influence will come from that learning, there's a lot more influence if you actually do the teaching. So if adding more kedusha to the world could, let's say, influence another 5 or 10 people to overcome the Yetzirah, teaching them directly could influence 20,000 more to do tshuva. Why? You're teaching them directly. Tell them simply, stop eating pig. So that's why, Rabotai, many times we have to make sure that we have Da'at Torah. We have the mindset of the Torah and what is the interest of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. What does He want? What is the most profitable thing for Him? Even though sometimes it may not seem to be as profitable to ourselves. You have to remove your own interest, your own liking, and quite frankly, just throw it away and replace it with a Kadosh Baruch Hu's likings. As the Mishnah in Avot says, when you make Hashem's will into your will, Hashem makes your will into His will. In so many words, you do what He wants you to do. He'll end up doing even a lot more than what you want Him to do. You don't have to worry. You'll get paid in the end. Now, the Prophet Yechezkel tells us that unfortunately many of the leaders are not only not teaching the right holy Torah, but in fact they're not teaching at all. They're actually enabling people to become worse. Like instead, like you have, let's say, 2 choices. You have choice A, as a leader of Torah, as a rabbi, as a spiritual leader, whatever you want to call yourself. Because some of these people, they're afraid of calling themselves rabbi. So they call themselves their first name because they want to see maybe I'll relate to the world more because I don't have a rabbi title. Fine, you're not a rabbi. You're a mister. Fine. What are you teaching? Torah. Okay, well the Gemara, Masechet Bava Metzia, page 32, says you're a rabbi. But you don't want to be a rabbi? No problem. No problem. You don't want to be a rabbi. You're not a rabbi. Okay? We're going to call you mister. Okay, mister, what are you teaching? Torah. Okay, so now you have a couple of choices. One, teach what Hashem said. What did Hashem say? Well, he said, Mechalel Shabbat mot yumat. That's what he said. Hashem says, violate Shabbat, I'm going to kill you. You waste seed, I'm going to kill you. You go with a married woman that's not your wife, I'm going to kill you. You steal, you're going to come back in the Gilgul. Reincarnate. All types of things, he said. How many times did he say it? A lot. More than half of the Torah. I used to say it's half, it's actually a lot more. Every single parasha in the Torah has some type of death penalty. Some type of punishment. Every parasha. You just start off. Parashat Bereshit, there's already punishment. Parashat Noach destroyed the whole world. I mean, I don't understand how people think there's no punishment. Second parasha, he destroyed the whole world. No, don't talk about punishment. How can you teach my son Torah but without scaring him? I said, teach him Harry Potter maybe. Torah doesn't work. Well, how come he never got scared until now? He said, you didn't learn Torah. Why? Torah is scary. Second parasha, he destroyed the whole world. I don't know, does it get scarier than, what do you think? Hashem told us a fairy tale? Why do you think he mentioned Parashat Noach? Other than to tell us that it could happen again, just in a different way, not a mabul. It could be a fire, a tornado, or just simply destroy the world without giving it any reason. And any act of nature. But people don't get that. They think, no, it's just a story in the Torah telling us history. Chachamim say anyone that calls the Torah a history book, en lo chelek be'elokei Yisrael, as no part of the living God, of the God of Israel. No part. He's like an atheist. Call the Torah a history book, you're an atheist. No, I believe in God. Atheist. Until you change your mind. It has history book in it, but it's not a history book. It has all of these stories, as Rav Wasserman taught us just last week, for a reason. To learn from them. Because they could happen again and most likely will. So now the prophet Yechezkel tells us that the shepherds, Hashem Yishmor, are the reason behind our constant failure. And Rav Wasserman says, you're going to notice that it's only going to get worse. The shepherds will actually get worse before Mashiach comes, worse than any other time in history. The leaders before Mashiach will be the worst of all leaders. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says, the vast majority of leaders in the last generation before Mashiach will be Erev Rav, meaning the enemies of Am Yisrael, the enemies of the Mashiach. Even if they have a very long beard, even if they're a rabbi, even if they're a mister, whatever. Many, most. So this we learned last week, and now Rav Wasserman says that the prophet Yechezkel gives us a picture, and he divides the people of the generation before Mashiach into 5 separate classes, 5 separate categories. From the verses. 1, weak. Certain part of the generation is called weak. The Nachalim in Hebrew. 2, sick. Cholim. 3, nishbarim, broken. 4, nidachim, estranged. And 5, ovdim, lost. 5 different types of people in the last generation. Weak, sick, broken, estranged, and lost. This is coming from Yosef Yechezkel. And now Rav Wasserman is going to give us commentary on what these all mean. The 3 latter classes, the broken, estranged, and lost, are the 3 kinds of unbelievers, meaning different types of heretics. The broken, the estranged, and the lost are 3 different types of heretics that are going to be in the last generation. But here he's talking about the masses, not like Manus Friedman. That's the leader, that's the shepherd. He's talking about the masses, the vast majority of Am Yisrael. It's going to be broken, estranged, or lost. That's what the Yechezkel says. The class of the broken the third stage, the broken, symbolize those who are separated from the congregation of Israel through their having cast off from themselves the yoke of one or two precepts. He says the ones that are called broken are heretics, and they're not considered part of Am Yisrael. Like when Hashem says, Am Yisrael, or Kol Yisrael, Yesh Laim Chelek Le'olam HaBa, like the Gemara in Masechet Sanhedrin, page 9, he says, Kol Yisrael Yesh Laim Chelek Le'olam HaBa. All of Am Yisrael have a share of the world to come. These people are not included. That's what Rav Wasserman says. These three are not included. Why are they not included? Why are they separated from Am Yisrael? Because they cast off themselves one or two precepts. What does that mean? They decide that one of this mitzvah, it's not relevant to this generation. What, wasting seed? It's not this generation. Maybe the generation of Moshe Rabbeinu, the Shekhinah was everywhere, everyone was scared to death, everybody was married. Then, yeah, for sure. 500 years ago, there was an internet. Rabbi Yosef Karo was the Gadol Hador. Yeah, it was relevant. But today, with the internet, with the YouTube, Shmutube, this tube, that tube, all types of tubes, Hashem Yishmor, wasting seed is definitely not relevant anymore. Somebody says that, heretic. What does it mean, heretic? Cannot be counted in minyan. You have 10 people, he's one of them, you don't have 10 people, you have 9. How many mitzvot did he do this with? 1. Not somebody that cast off the whole Torah, he's driving on Shabbat, he's doing that. No, just 1 mitzvah. 1 mitzvah, 1 thing. Maybe 2, Rav Wasserman says. Maybe 2. 1, 2, he just decided. This one? No. That one, I don't like it. No. It's not for me. You know what a lot of people do it with? Yom Tov Sheni. Second Yom Tov. When you live in exile, Chachamim said, you have to keep Yom Tov 2 days. In Eretz Yisrael, it's 1 day. But people in America, what do? Or the exile, they live in England, they live in America, they live in Zimbabwe, wherever they live. Like, nah, come on, in reality, that was at a time where they didn't really know what the time was. There was people standing on mountains with light torches telling you when it's a new moon, when it's a new month, when it's a new this. They didn't really know the times. No, now I have in my house an atomic clock. They sent me from NASA, so I know exactly what time it is. I don't need to keep Yom Tov Shini. I know exactly what time it is. I'm fine. I'm only keeping 1 Yom Tov. You are a heretic. That's what the Torah says. Why? You live in the exile, you have to keep Yom Tov twice, 2 days. Yeah, but it's not relevant anymore. Chachamim say it's relevant, it's relevant. No, I'm going to go for vacation in Israel. You still have to keep Yom Tov 2 days in Israel. Why? You're not going to live there. You're going for vacation. You go to Israel for vacation, you keep Yom Tov twice. Yeah, but everybody else go back to work. So let them go back to work and you sit in the home. Why? You live in the exile. And many people, unfortunately, become heretics because of this easy mitzvah. Easy. All you gotta do is keep Yom Tov 2 days. That's it. It's not, Hashem's not telling you, give me your lung on the second Yom Tov. He's not saying that. Chop off your toes on the second Yom Tov. Doesn't say that. He says just keep Yom Tov 2 days. You have another break for another day. You have kedusha for another day. What's the problem? People become heretics because of a small, tiny mitzvah. And unfortunately, there are many things like this, that they do it with. Sometimes it's the way they cut their hair. They decide that, yeah, I know that the Torah says don't look like the goyim and don't shave your head in a certain way, but today the style is to have like the mohawk and the this hawk and the that hawk, and it really looks better on me when I have a 0 or a half or maybe 1. Yeah, but the rabbi says that less than 2 is not allowed. Yeah, but maybe the rabbi doesn't really understand what 2 means. It means it's not going to look good, rabbi. I'm not going to get a shidduch. Was the rabbi want me to be alone? Is that what happened with this rabbi? He wants me to be alone? No, he wants you to go to heaven. Get a number 2. I can't do it. Okay, you're a heretic. Your haircut makes you a heretic. Why? That's what it is. What do you think? He just invented it just because of you? That's what it is. Meaning, if you don't know the mitzvah and you made a sin, that's one thing. You don't know it. You're eventually going to learn it. Bezrat Hashem. Until then, it's shogeg. But if you don't learn, then that shogeg, that accidental sin, becomes on purpose. But worse yet, you know it, and you still don't want to do it. What they're going to do to you. I want to see it. I want to see the visual in cartoon. I don't want to see the real thing. I get scared. I want to see the visual in the cartoon, what they're going to do to such a person in Shamayim. What are they going to do? Son, you're going to make me a movie? You're going to make me a movie? Why? Because if you show people what they're going to do to them, for 1 second, they're not going to get number 2. They're going to get number 900. Everyone's going to have afros. We're going to go back to the 70s, just from the fear. Why? Because that's what the Torah says. Why are you fighting? Why are you fighting? No, it doesn't look good. To who? To who? Who does it look good to? But that's, again, simple mitzvah. Simple, easy mitzvah. And that's, Rabotai, the entire Torah is simple. How do we know? Moshe Rabbeinu says, "Bepicha ubilvavcha la'asoto." It's in your mouth, it's in your heart to do it. Meaning the entire Torah is easy for you to fulfill. It's in there. Go to that door, and the next door, it goes to the bathroom. Since they're all mutes, I have to talk. It's open. If it's not open, somebody open it for him, please. Okay, he'll open a few. Don't worry. So now, Rabotai, there are many easy mitzvot, but people just figure, I'm keeping so much already. I'm gonna pass on this one. The prophet Yechezkel, 3,000 years ago, says, "You, my friend, are no longer considered part of Am Yisrael because you gave up on one mitzvah knowingly." Now you didn't know. You knew, and you still said, "Not for me." If it's just difficult for you to do, but you know it's true, you just haven't gotten there yet, that's okay. Okay, you'll get there, Bezrat Hashem. You're still considered part of Am Yisrael. It's hard for you. We're still all a little bit of a loser sometimes. When it comes to certain things, sometimes we're a little stingy, sometimes we're a little angry, sometimes our mouth is like a sewer. We all fail once in a while. But as long as we know and we admit that it's wrong and we're going to do tshuva for it, Baruch Hashem, you're part of Am Yisrael. You're a normal part of Am Yisrael. But once you get to a point where you say, no, this one, I know that's what it says, it's just not for me. I'm not going to do it. Like you decide actively, I'm not going to do it. You, my friend, cannot be counted in the minyan. You should put a banner on your forehead. Not part of Am Yisrael. Why? So nobody gets confused and counts for minyan. Instead of get a shirt says Nike, says Mikey. Not part of Am Yisrael. You're not. Fake. Why? That's what you're acting like. You just simply decide not to keep the Torah. And that's first category. First category is the broken. Their Yirat Shamayim is broken. Their fear of heaven is broken. They don't have the right teacher teaching them about Yirat Shamayim. Why don't they have anyone teaching them about Yirat Shamayim? We'll get to that in a moment. About these broken people, the Gaon Mivilna says that a heretic, an apostate, to one precept has lost one limb of his soul. Someone that simply decided to be a heretic for one mitzvah just lost part of his soul. Next category, estranged. And next one, the lost. The estranged and the lost are heretics, are apostates, who are lost from the entire Torah. Meaning these people don't keep the entire Torah. But how come they're both, why are there two different categories if both of them don't keep the entire Torah? The estranged, while the estranged are deniers, meaning they just simply say, listen, this Torah is good, it's not for me. It's not for me, not for me to keep Shabbat, all these things, not for me. But yet they're bound to the people of Israel, meaning this is the type of guy that he doesn't keep Shabbat, but he comes to shul during the high holidays. He comes on Yom Kippur. And sometimes he'll buy the aliyah. In fact, usually he's the one that buys the aliyah. 10,000, Rabbi. Who's this guy? Well, we haven't seen you all year. 15,000 because I didn't show up. No, Habibi, thank you for the donation. Baruch haba, thank you, we like you. But how come you don't come on Shabbat? No, Rabbi, I'm working on Shabbat. I can't come. I'm working. I'm busy. What? No, but you came on Yom Kippur. Yeah, Kodesh Kodashim Yom Kippur. So what's Shabbat? No, Shabbat I'm working. You know, I got to make plans to buy the aliyot. No. Heretic. But he's not a heretic like he doesn't like it. Like he doesn't like the Torah or he doesn't like God. He feels like he's very much part of Am Yisrael, like most of us were at some point in our life. Most people that are doing TeShuva right now weren't usually anti-Torah. They're just simply ignorant people. Never in my life was I anti-Torah. I always respected rabbis. I always liked whatever I would learn, I would value it, but never knew much. Never knew the significance of making certain sins. I'd go to the shul during the high holidays. I'd eat matzah on Pesach. Fun. What's the problem? Shabbat? Not for me. Why? It's a time where I do this and I do that. You don't know the significance of violating. So, he says these people are also considered heretics, but they're not as bad as the last class, which is the lost. Because while the estranged are deniers and they're apostates who are still bound to the people of Israel, the class of the lost symbolizes the heretics who have assimilated with the Goyim until their Jewish origin has been forgotten completely. She married a non-Jew. He married a non-Jew. They simply have adopted the non-Jewish life. He's a really nice Greek Orthodox rabbi. He's a nice guy. She's a really nice girl from Italy, Rabbi. Find me a Jewish girl like her, you're never going to find. Yeah, I'm not going to find anything. But you should know, you're not allowed to be with her. Yeah, but Rabbi, she's the best one for me. Well, you're not going to always think that. You're not going to always think that, I promise you. Today, there's a lot of lust, a lot of yetzirah. She looks like peaches to you. Give it time, she's going to look like poison too. And you're going to regret the day you were born. No, Rabbi, we have true love. Okay, Habibi, okay. You know how many guys call me and girls call me and send me 1.5 million messages? How sorry they are for the decisions they made. Marrying a non-Jew, having kids with a non-Jew, it's so difficult to break it. Rabbi, what do? I have one guy who sends me emails, and each one is a Megillah. It takes 20 minutes just to read the email. Hence the reason I don't read emails anymore. 20 minutes to read the email. Why? All of this suffering he's dealing with, being married to a non-Jew and having 4 kids. Like, how do you leave? Okay, so you're not allowed to marry her, but you have 4 kids, and you feel like they're your kids. Even though Torah says, if your wife is a non-Jew, they're not really your kids. But in reality, biologically, they're your kids. Which means they're not spiritually your kids, but you still have to pay for them. Nightmare. You love the kid. He's been in your life for so many years. You feel he's your baby. But according to Torah, it's a problem. How do you just leave it? Or worse yet, she's married to a non-Jew. And Mustafa has a desire to have many kids and many wives sometimes also. But she finds out too late because they already live in Saudi Arabia. And 8 other wives show up that she never knew about. And a reality sets in, but it's too late because now she becomes another one of his toys. And her life is ruined. Ruined. Why? She was running away from, her father. She was running away from her mother because they were too strict when it came to Torah. She thought that Mustafa was better. And she realizes, mistake. But it's not an easy mistake to fix. Very hard to fix, especially when you got kids. Especially when you already moved out of state, especially if you're relying on them financially, especially if you have emotions. You're a human being. You love them. You care about them. You're used to them. You're with them for 20 years. You got a history. So you, in essence, live with regret. For how long? Until you can't take it anymore. And very, very few are able to overcome this test. Very few. even when they find the truth. I have one guy I met 5 years ago. He watches every single shiur. Right now he's going to hear me talk about him. Hopefully he doesn't know it's him, but he's going to know it's him. Why? Because the story matches him. 5 years, 6 years, he watches literally every single shiur. Nicest guy you're ever going to meet. Nice guy. You're going to meet him? I met him personally one time or twice. Nice guy. Problem? Married to a non-Jew. 2, 3 kids already. Loves the Torah. Keeps the Torah. Can't leave his Goya. So he keeps Shabbat, she goes to church. He keeps kosher, she makes breakfast with a little bit of bacon on it. Why? Dafka. Dafka. Why? She doesn't like this. She doesn't like that he's all of a sudden becoming a religious Jew. I didn't marry a religious Jew, she says. So I told him, leave her. No, Rabbi, I got kids with her. Well, my kids are going to be in a broken home. I said, better a broken home than a broken soul, but yeah, I get what you're saying. I understand, you got emotions. I get it, I was in it. I know it's hard. Don't get into it. Don't get into it. Why? It's hard to break. It's hard. And people think, no, I'm going to convert him. No, I'm going to convert her. Good luck, buddy. Good luck. Yeah, but Rabbi, your wife converted. Yeah, I don't recommend it on anybody. Even though my Rabbanit, my wife, is the biggest tzadikah in the world, and I should kiss her feet every single day for even being with me, let alone for the life she's giving me. The reality is, Rabotai, I don't recommend anyone going through the same process. Why? It's hard. It's very, very hard. Why? Because you're simply in a serious test for a matter of years. You don't know if it's ever going to be over. Your heart pretty much tells you 500 different things, and it's hard. So when people think, no, I'm going to convert her, Rabotai, you're playing with fire. You're playing with fire. Why? Because if she converts for you, or he converts for you, you may be able to fool the rabbis, but in Shemayim, Gehenom is not fooled. Why? Because they know it's not a real Jew. And you know very well if she's converting for you or she's converting for Hashem. And if you don't know before the conversion, you find out shortly after the conversion. Because all of a sudden, before the conversion, she looks like a rabbanit. All of a sudden there's long sleeves. And all of a sudden she likes long skirts. And all of a sudden she has a book in her hand all the time. And says, hi Rabbi, hi Rabbi, hi Rabbi, how Rabbi, how are you Rabbi? Yeah, you're going to keep everything? Yeah, Rabbi, everything Rabbi. Yeah, Rabbi, Rabbi. Oh, the conversion finished. Oh, hoo-wah, the party, we got a wedding. She wants a little mixed dancing. No, Rabbi, no. So you have a problem already on day one with the wedding. Why? Because our family's not Jewish. They don't understand what does it mean. You dance over here, boys here, boys here. What are we back in high school? In the 1950s? Boys here, girls here. No, let us dance. So all of a sudden you got to fight. You haven't even gotten married yet. Then on top of that, she wants to live in a not so frum area. Why? Because it's closer to our family. It's closer to this. It's closer to that. And then after that, you say, listen, honey, no TV. What do you mean no TV? What am I going to do all day? We're going to watch you at Torah and learn. No, I finished. What do you mean? I finished. I converted already. I finished. No, we're going to continue learning. Why am I going to continue learning? I'm in school. I converted. I finished. I did it already. All of a sudden, he has a shock of his life. What do you mean you did it already? You think that was finished? Yeah, finished. Converted already. Why do you need to do it anymore? Maybe I'll do it with you. On Shabbat, I'll do it with you. On Shabbat, I'll learn a little bit. Then you have a kid. Kids gets up. All of a sudden, okay, we're going to send him to the yeshiva. No. I don't want my kid with all these, these dark people. What do you mean dark people? Oh, they're always wearing black, these people. They're too religious for us. Let's send them to like a more modern, like a Jewish type of school. Like a Jewish Federation type of school. More modern, up with society. They're going to teach him the sciences and the mathematics. Maybe he'll become an astronaut. Before conversion, you said everybody wants to be a rabbi. Yeah, but I grew. I'm a full-grown Jew now. And all of a sudden, Judaism starts losing its taste, and all one day she says, honey, you want to go to the beach? No. What? Beach? Oh, you're not coming? Okay, I'm going with my girlfriends. What do you mean you're going with your girlfriend? What are you talking about? What beach? We don't go to the beach. Well, you don't have to go to the beach. I'm going to the beach. My girlfriend's waiting downstairs. All of a sudden, she wants to go to the beach. All Kasuta said it's allowed. She saw on YouTube. She wants to go to the beach. She wants to go to the club. She wants to have a drink. She wants to be young. She doesn't want to cover her hair anymore. And all of a sudden you realize, what happened to me? I thought I was marrying Sarah. I didn't even marry the Izebel. What happened? She converted for you. When she converts for you, it's only a process. That's just temporary until she finishes, until she passes the test. How many people here remember the material they studied for in school a day after the test? Before the test, you studied, you want to get a good grade. You study, and you learn, and you know everything by heart, and you go back and forth with each other. 5 minutes after the test, somebody asks you a question, hey, I finished the test. Don't stop asking me questions. I finished the test. I'm innocent. I finished the test. Done. No, but I want to go over the material, why? I finished the test. Sometimes people treat conversion like that. Sometimes people treat chuva like that. They start keeping Shabbat, they change their life a little bit, their wardrobe a little bit, they think they're finished. Mistake of a lifetime, Rabotai. And unfortunately, it's in the Gemara, where it says that converts are like a skin disease to Am Yisrael. How so? Hashem says that converts are amazing, that you're obligated to love converts as much as you love God, meaning more than a natural born Jew. So how come the Gemara says they're like a skin disease for Am Yisrael? Different reasons. Number one, on the positive side, it says they're like a skin disease for Am Yisrael because a convert that's righteous makes the Jew that's not exactly so righteous jealous. How come he can study for 8 hours, this convert? I'm a Jew my whole life, I can't study for 2. How come he can do it? How come he loves Torah so much? I can barely stand a shiur for 5 minutes. Rabbi, watch your shiur. Which one? You know that 4-minute clip, I watched that shiur. I watch you every day, Rabbi. Yeah, well, watch every day. Shtabach Shimo. Did you watch my whole Pirkei Avot series? What, the long ones? No. I mean, like I watch the clips, the 4-minute clips, 5 minutes. But sometimes it's too long, like 20 minutes. I don't watch those. It takes me like 2-3 days to watch those. Converts? Rabbi, I just completed your Pirkei Avot series for the 4th time. 400 hours, 4 times. You have anything else? Shtabach Shimo La'ad. You see people like that, you get jealous of them. Why? He could study for 1,600 hours. No questions asked. The other guy barely makes it to a 5-minute clip. Makes you jealous. It's a good jealousy. It's a permissible jealousy. But then the Gemara says sometimes the convert is a skin disease for Am Yisrael because the convert is a fake convert. She converted for him. He converted for her. 2 minutes after conversion, they're back to the Goyish mentality. They're back to wanting to go to the beach. They're back to wanting to do all the things that they did as Goyim. You know what's the biggest danger that I see that's hidden in the conversion world? A convert that studies Torah like a Goy. What does that mean? A convert, Rabotai, came from somewhere, usually Christianity. And the problem is that in Christianity, why do they have 2.5, 3 billion people making a mistake of a lifetime by worshiping an idol? Because they study the Torah like Goyim. They study the Torah based on their basic understanding from their own mentality. And they study the Torah from the Tanakh. Meaning, they look at the Tanakh, they see what the verse says, and they simply translate it themselves based on their own understanding. Not based on the sages, not based on the Gemara, not based on the Poskim, not based on the Halacha. No. I know the Tanakh, Rabbi. This, Rabotai, danger. Why? Someone that studies the Torah that way, 100% is going to be a heretic. Because what happens, Rabotai, when a person studies the written Torah as if there is no oral Torah, the Torah calls that person also an apikos, also a heretic. Because our entire Torah, the most critical part of it is the oral Torah, not the written Torah. the oral Torah is more important than the written Torah. Don't let anybody fool you. Yeah, what do you mean? But the 5 books of Moses Hashem gave us. Yes, but you're never going to understand that written Torah without the oral Torah. Which means that if Chas v'Shalom, we would ever have to give up one of them to the Goyim, we give the 5 books of Moses and we keep the oral Torah. Why? Because the oral Torah includes the written Torah. Whereas the written Torah is not legible without the oral Torah. You can't read it, you can't understand it. Yeah, but what do you mean? But she understands it and he understands it based on their logic. Who says their logic is right? Who says your logic is right? And we see the importance of the oral Torah across the entire Torah in the written Torah. The Chatam Sofer, in the end of Perush 9, and also the Chatam Sofer commentary on his on his Responsa, on Orach Chayim, page 208, says the main foundation of the oral Torah starts with the Yitzchak Avinu listening to Avraham Avinu regarding being a korban himself. Why? Yitzchak's father just told him, Avraham told Yitzchak, you're going to be the korban. He asked him, listen, Abba, we're going to the mountain and everything. Where's the korban? He says, don't worry, my son, don't worry, son. They get to the mountain, and Avraham says to Yitzchak, Tfadal, yalla, let's go. I'm going to tie you up, you're the korban. Hashem says, bring a korban, you're it. Now Yitzchak could have just simply said, hey, hold on a second. Abba, show me. Show me where it says in the Torah that I'm the korban. What did Avraham say? Avraham says, Hashem said. Meaning, this is oral Torah. He believed Avraham, that Avraham was transmitting the word of Hashem. That's the oral Torah. If Yitzchak Avinu would have challenged his father and said, listen, Abba, until I see it in writing, I'm not doing it. Guess what? Yitzchak is not Yitzchak anymore. Yitzchak is not Yitzchak anymore. We already see, the Chatam Sofer says, that the fact that Yitzchak listened to Avraham regarding being a korban through the oral condition, the oral tradition, instead of demanding that it be written, if it wasn't that case, if he would have demanded that it's written, there wouldn't have been an Akedat Yitzchak at all. Now the significance of Akedat Yitzchak, Rabotai, is that Akedat Yitzchak was so significant in the eyes of Hashem that until this day, Hashem saves us from the enemy because of that. There are many times that Am Yisrael sinned such grave sins to the extent that Hashem wanted to destroy us. And He didn't because of Akedat Yitzchak. If Yitzchak would have simply just said, listen, this is not for me, I want to see it written in a book, no Akedat Yitzchak, and most likely, no Am Yisrael. The Gemara Masechet Shabbat, page 89b. Hashem says to Avraham Avinu, Avraham, your descendants, your children sinned. Avraham says, let them die for the sake of your name. Hashem says to Avraham, your children sin, look, they're worshipping idols, times of the Bet HaMikdash. Avraham says, my children sin against you, let them all die, kill all of them. Why? The sake of your name is much more important than them. Then HaKadosh Baruch Hu goes to Yaakov, his grandson. Says, Yaakov, look what happened, your descendants sinned. Yaakov says to Hashem, let them all die for the sake of your name. Then HaKadosh Baruch Hu goes to Yitzchak. He says, Yitzchak, your descendants sinned. Yitzchak says to Hashem, what? They sinned? What's the big deal? How much did they really sin? What? They lived 70, 80, 100 years. Out of that 100 years, how much did they really sin? They sinned the whole time? No, obviously not. They're sleeping 30% of the time. On top of that, they're in the bathroom, and then they're working, and then they do all these different things. What do they really sin out of everything? Let's say they sinned 12 years. Let's say they sinned 12 years out of the whole 100 years. You know what, Hashem? Fine, they sinned 12 years. You're right, they sinned. I'll take half, you take half. Because they're your kids too. I'll pay for half of it, based on Akedat Yitzchak. Remember Akedat Yitzchak? Why? sanctified your name. I died for the Oral Torah. I died for you. I was willing to die for anything, right? So I'll pay for half of it. And you pay for half of it, because after all, they're your kids. And if you don't want to, Yitzchak Avinu says to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'll pay for the whole thing. I'll pay for the whole thing. What does it mean? What is the Gemara really telling us in Masechet Shabbat? Says the Rabotai that because Yitzchak Avinu sacrificed his life, was Mesirut Nefesh, for the Oral Torah, in essence, he saved all of Am Yisrael. He didn't sacrifice his life for the written Torah. He sacrificed his life for the Oral Torah. Exodus from Egypt. Before the Exodus, Yosef HaTzadik gives the Shvatim a code. Eventually a Mashiach is going to come to you and he's going to say a code word to know that he's the right Mashiach. Pakod yifkod. If he says these words, he's the right Mashiach. Hashem sent him. But if he says, no, I'm the Mashiach, kill him. It's fake Mashiach. One day, Moshe Rabbeinu arrives. Used to be Paro's boy. Now he wants to be the savior of Am Yisrael. How do we know he's real? Magic tricks? The Egyptians have magic tricks too. Moshe Rabbeinu says, Pakod yifkod. You know those words. What did he have? Did he have a Torah book that says Pakod yifkod? There's no Torah book at that point. Oral tradition. Oral tradition. After the whole Makot, everything that happened, Moshe Rabbeinu has to deliver on a promise. What's the promise? Take the grave of Yosef HaTzadik from Egypt to Eretz Yisrael. Where is it? Nobody knows. Nobody knows where it is. What do you mean nobody knows? You've been here for... Nobody knows. Nobody can find it. They turned Yosef into a god. No idea. We got to find somebody that knows. Who would possibly know? There's no books. There's no books. Who would possibly know? Someone that was alive a few hundred years ago. Who was alive a few hundred years ago? Serach bat Asher. Serach, the daughter of Asher, Yosef HaTzadik's niece. She got a blessing from Yaakov Avinu to live forever. And she's one of the few people that went to Gan Eden with her clothes on. Alvai, we go to Gan Eden with our clothes on. Don't make a difference. But she went there alive. Alive she went. She says, Moshe, Yosef is buried inside the Nile River. How does she know? Why did Moshe believe her? All tradition. We know from this and this. And guess what? Who told Am Yisrael that this is the code word? That Yosef HaTzadik said that's the code word. Serach bat Asher. Why? She was alive at the time to see Yosef HaTzadik. Oral tradition. No oral tradition, no Exodus. No Yetziat Mitzrayim. Yishai. Yishai was David HaMelech's father. After he had several kids, he read Halacha and he realized, oh, I think I have a boo-boo. What? My grandmother is Ruth. And Ruth was a Moabite, Moabite. And Torah says that someone that's a Moabite, you're not allowed to convert him to Judaism. So since my wife came from there, in reality I'm not allowed to marry her. Or he came from there, he himself came from there, his wife no. I'm not allowed to really marry her. So I'm finished. Can't have any more kids with her. Because I'm from the Moab, not allowed to be a Jew. Yeah, but you're Gdol Adol, you're the only one of 4 people that never sinned. Oh, okay, excuses. That's what the Halacha says. Not allowed. The Beit Din of Shmuel HaNavi, Paskins the Halacha, says, Yishai, you made a mistake. You're right that we're not allowed to accept the Moabites as converts. But that's Moabites males, not females. Females allowed to convert. Therefore, your grandmother, Ruth, tzadikah. Go back to your wife. Guess what? All of that, Oral Torah. Oral Torah. What came from that? David. David HaMelech, King Mashiach. Mashiach comes, Oral Torah. Now, the Oral Torah, Rabotai, is so special and so significant that if people do not listen to it and translate Torah according to their own liking, they are going to make such grave mistakes that they're literally going to destroy their own world. One of the things I mentioned last week was about the mitzvah to go live in Eretz Yisrael. Now, although it is one of the mitzvot to fulfill, it's not an obligatory mitzvah. As Rav Sternbach paskined and explained the halacha itself, to move to Eretz Yisrael is something you do if it meets certain criteria. Number one, it's possible. Two, you can afford it. Meaning you'll have a job, you'll have a way to make a living over there. You're not going to turn into some homeless person. You have a way to make a living. You don't necessarily need to make millions. You don't even necessarily need to make as much money as you make here. You just need to be able to make a living. But if your profession is simply useless over there, or you have no way to make money over there, that's a problem. Third, your marriage is not going to get hurt. Meaning you and your spouse want to do it. You're not forcing each other. You're not fighting over it. She's not going to leave you because of it. He's not going to leave you because of it. You can have shalom bayit. 3, your Torah will either stay the same or improve. Meaning, if you have a certain chavruta or a rabbi, wherever you live right now, and you're going to lose that, and in essence, end up learning less Torah by moving to Eretz Yisrael, not to move. So some overly zealous, dumb people that don't know halacha, see, that's a bad guy, look at this rabbi, what a fake rabbi, he's saying people don't go to Eretz Yisrael, he's discouraging them. When did I discourage people to go to Eretz Yisrael? I just told you what halacha is. No, even the Rambam says it's a mitzvah like the entire Torah to go to Eretz Yisrael. Oh, hold on a second, are you listening to yourself? Wait, hold on a second, forget about what you just said. Are you listening to yourself? Like you're making a mistake. First of all, you're making a mistake. Second of all, you're making a mistake. Right? Who did you say said that? Where's the halacha from? Rambam said it. Oh. Where did the Rambam get it from? Gemara. Oh. Who paskin it to halacha now? Shulchan Aruch. Oh. Where do they all live? Where did Rabbi Yosef Karo live? In Israel? No. Where did the Rambam live? In Israel? No. Where was the Babylonian Talmud written? In Israel? No. No. What, they're all heretics? They're all discouraging people from not going to Eretz Yisrael? You're quoting the Chachamim that tell you the halacha, but you're going against them. No, but Rabbi, I know Tanakh. And I translated the verse that I wrote, and I read, and I did this. You are a heretic. A dumb one too. Why? Because you think you know more than the Chachamim you're quoting. And that's what happens many times, Rabotai. When people simply allow their ego to get in the way of reality, of the right decision. Ego destroys lives on a daily basis. But in the Torah world, probably more than others. Simply because if you do not listen to the Oral Torah, you're never going to discover the truth of Torah. Now, the amount of wisdom that you will find in the Oral Torah has literally no end. One thing I learned recently, just to give you guys a little small token, because people think sometimes that the Oral Torah just talks about midrashim and what happened 3,000 years ago, and it's like limited with wisdoms. But yet I tell you that all of the wisdoms, there are 7 wisdoms in the world, all of them are in the Torah, all of them. Anything of any value is inside the Torah. You just need to know how to find it. So someone's going to ask you, wait a minute, what about mathematics? Show me math in the Torah. Go to Gemara, Masechet Rosh Hashanah. First chapter teaches you mathematics you don't even understand. Why? Go to the calculation of the moon, how much it rotates, this, that. If you're not a genius in math, you can't figure out that Gemara. Then you go to the Masechet Eruvin. Go figure out the Eruv. Ooh, wow, what they're going to do to you over there. You don't understand one word. Okay, Rabbi, but this, but that. Let me show you something simple. I just learned this one. Someone had a complication. Came to the Rav. Rabbi, I have a problem. What's the problem? My father, who's Talmid Chacham, told us that we have to be Talmid Chachamim. And the only way that we're going to get the inheritance is if we know how to figure out this calculation. and he died, and we can't get the solution. And the lawyer is not going to allow us, according to the contract he has, with the estate, with my father in essence, to get us the inheritance unless we can figure this out. What is it? He says there's 17 horses that the father has. 17 horses. And you have to split it equally between the 3 kids. But you're not allowed to sell them. You're not allowed to kill them. You're not allowed to eat them. But the first kid gets 1.5 of the total out of the 17. The second one, the first one gets, the first one gets half the horses. The second kid gets 1/3 of the horses. And the third kid gets 1/9 of the horses. 17 horses, you're probably going to want to write this down. 17 horses. First kid gets half the horses. Second kid gets 1/3 of the horses. And third kid, 1/9 of the horses. But you're not allowed to sell the horses in order to come up with this. You're not allowed to kill any of the horses, meaning you can't split them in half. So that already kills the first thing that every one of us thinks. Wait, first one gets half, but 17, half is what? 8.5. You kill the horse. You can't get the inheritance. First one gets 1/2, second one gets 1/3, third one gets 1/9. You can't sell them, you can't kill them, and you can't eat them. It's not kosher. No, how do we get it? Chabod.
You divide up let's say the benefit from the horse from working a part of the day, so it can split up the schedule of the horse. So let's say it works on this field for 30 minutes, on the next field it's going to work 60 minutes.
No, he's just giving you the horses.
I'm just saying how everyone will benefit from the horses.
Benefit. Okay, it's interesting. Not the right answer, but interesting way of looking at it. That's assuming that they all have shalom between them, that they all want to work with each other. But what if he wants to race his horses and the other guy wants to work his horses? So he doesn't want to share the horses. So then the calculation can't work. Here the father is saying you have to take possession of the horses, do whatever you want with them. If you guys want to join forces after the fact, no problem. But in order to get the horses, you have to have solution to this calculation. The sons can't figure it out. How can we split 17 horses into half, into 1/3, and into 1/9? Answer. Came from a 5-year-old boy who eventually became a familiar name in the world. His name was Rabbi Chaim Volozhin. Rabbi Chaim Volozhin says he overhears the kids talking to the Rav. No one can figure it out. Rabbi Chaim Volozhin says to the people, okay, I can help you with that. No problem. You, little kid? Yeah, no problem. No problem. Okay, how? Did you have any other horses? Other than you have horses of your own, you have 17 horses. You have more horses? Yeah, I have a few of my own horses. Okay. Give me one. Give me one. I'll give it back to you, but give it to me. For figuring out a fee, but I'm going to give it back to you. Okay. He gives him a horse. Goes, okay, so now, you know what? I'm going to put this horse together with the 17. I'm going to join the inheritance. I'm going to give you as a present. So now you have how many? 18. Half of 18 is how much? 9. 1/3 of 18 is how much? 6. 1/9 of 18 is how much? 2. But I told you I'm going to give you back the horse that I owe you, right? It's yours. How many did you give away? 9, 6, and 2. What's the total? 9 plus 6 is 15. Plus 2, 17. How much was inheritance? 17 horses. Where I learned that? Torah. Where? Oral Torah. Oral Torah. Another one, I'm not going to go into all the details of it, but I could show it to you after if you'd like. There was a sakana that one of the chachamim was on a ship with his talmidim, 15 talmidim, 15 people total that were Jewish, including the Rav, and 15 goyim on the ship. Ship started rocking. The goyim said, listen, We're not going to survive if everybody stays on the ship. We got to throw half the people off to survive. So, what does the good rabbi say? Rabbi says, no problem, but I'll agree to your terms to throw them off, but at least give me the ability to do the goal. Put everybody in order, and we'll count every time we get to 15, that person number 15, we throw him off the boat. The guy says, sure rabbi, whatever you want. So the rabbi put everybody in order. He says, we'll have two sides. One side is the Jews, one side is the Goyim. Left side Jewish. Left side starts with 4 Jews. Right side Goyim, 5 Jews. Left side has 2 Jews. Right side 1. Left side 3, right side 1, left side 1, right side 2. Left side 2, right side 3, left side 1, right side 2. Left side 2, right side 1. Start counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15. First one, goy. Throw him off the boat. Okay, now you continue from that spot. 15, another goy. 15, another goy. This calculation, the way he structured this, in an instant, guaranteed that every one of the 15 people will be a non-Jew. Will be a goy that gets thrown off the boat. All Jews stayed on the boat. To have such a calculation, even if you have pen and paper, may take you a week to figure it out. To figure it out in an instant, you have to have Ruach HaKodesh or simply be a giant in Torah. Where do you learn it from? Torah. The point is, Rabotai, is that this means a person that knows math knows that you have to simply figure out 15 calculations to a server of powers in order to figure it out. Because it's not like you're starting from the same beginning point 15 times like it is with chess. You have to figure out chess moves 15 moves ahead. And anyone that's a chess player knows this. You have to be a very, very good chess player to have so many moves ahead. That's why many times people that are scholars in Torah tend to also be very good chess players too, or vice versa. So when a person understands the value of Oral Torah, understands that this is our foundation, understands that without it we simply can't breathe as Jews, we can't survive as Jews. And the Rav Wasserman tells us that when a person assimilates into the non-Jewish world, he's simply throwing it all out. He's adopting their religion, their mentality, their life, their everything. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu says that eventually he's going to bring some of these people back. But part of the fault that they're there in the first place is the leaders, the shepherds. So Rav Wasserman continues and he says, the leaders, the shepherds, whose livelihood is their sheep. As the prophet Yechezkel says, you eat the fat and you wear the wool. And whose obligation is to care for their sheep. They default on this duty. It says these leaders that are supposed to take care of these 3 different types of sheep, or 5 different types of sheep, he says that they defaulted on their duty. They feed not the sheep, but themselves. Instead of taking care of the sheep, feeding them Torah, feeding them the Oral Torah, feeding them the written Torah, feeding them the truth, they're just worried about themselves, their pockets. Sometimes you'll have a rabbi that's a complete heretic and teaches people heresy. Sometimes you'll simply have a rabbi that is selfish, where he learns Torah, he knows Torah, he keeps the Torah, but as far as when it comes to his keilah, he doesn't share the truth with them. Why? He's scared that if he tells them the truth, he'll get fired. That's also a problem. So, the sheep wander on every mountain and hill, pray for the teeth of the beasts of the field. And the prophet says in Yechezkel 34:6, and there was none that did search or seek. Therefore, says God, I will cause the shepherds to cease, and I myself will feed the sheep. What will I do to the sheep of my pasture? The lost will I seek out. The estranged will I bring back. The broken will I bind up. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells us, tells the shepherds that failed on their job, I'm going to become the shepherd. I'm going to get my sheep since you didn't do it. And he categorizes these specific ones. These specific sheep that are broken, estranged, and lost. Saying that he'll seek them out because they're lost. They didn't realize that they have to keep the entire Torah. They thought that they could keep 95% of the Torah or 99% of the Torah. He's going to find them. He's going to show them why they have to keep all of it. The estranged, he'll bring back the people that came to shul once or twice a year. He's going to send them a strategy to come back. And the broken, he'll bind up. What does that mean? It's good to look in the order of the grades in this progression first. First, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, the lost will I seek. That is, those men whose grandfathers and grandmothers betrayed their faith 120, 130 years ago, which to us is 200 plus years ago. Their letters of descent, which is called Sefer Yochasin, which in the old days, there used to be a Sefer, a book, where all of Am Yisrael could track their lineage all the way to Moshe Rabbeinu, Mount Sinai. The Gemara says that throughout the exiles, this was all lost. So the Gemara says, so how do you know if somebody's truly part of Am Yisrael? It says it has to have certain traits. What's a guarantee? Because sometimes your guy is going to be merciful, but he's really not good in other things. Sometimes he'll be generous, but he'll be bad in other things. What's one thing that's fixed? This guy is the best. Gemara says, someone that's in the middle, there's an argument and someone angers him, but he keeps quiet. But not just one time. All the time. But not when nobody's making you angry. No, Rabbi, I never get angry. Only if they make me angry. No. All the time. So one time, Rabbi Chaim Volozhin and his brother, Rabbeinu Zalman, they went to a new town. And, in those days, there's no Facebook, there's no pictures, no nothing. But Rabbi Chaim Volozhin is a Gdol Hador. But one of these fools in the town didn't know he's a rabbi. He thought these people are two, tzedakah collectors. And he didn't like people that collect tzedakah. So he started cursing them and yelling at them, trying to kick them out. And both of them didn't answer. Stayed quiet. Even though he's insulting them, in reality, if I was Rabbi Chaim Volozhin, I said, you know what you're talking to? I'm the Gdol Hador. How could you talk to me like this? You know what? You go collect tzedakah for me, just as a punishment. That's why I'm not Rabbi Chaim Volozhin. Rabbi Chaim Volozhin, quiet. Doesn't say nothing. Walks away. After he walks away, he sees his brother, Rabbeinu Zalman, start crying. He says, why are you crying? Why, you're upset because this guy just made fun of us? He goes, no, chas v'shalom. Ma pitom. No. I'm just upset that I didn't fulfill the Gemara. Well, but you didn't answer. He goes, no, but the Gemara, I always thought that someone is a big deal, someone is a real yachas. If he doesn't answer when someone's making fun of him. But that's not the real pshat. What's the real pshat? Someone that not only doesn't answer, if he answers, he's a fool. Someone that it doesn't even affect him. Not only did it answer, but it doesn't affect you what people say about you. It doesn't bother you at all. Like David HaMelech. When Shimi ben Gera was cursing him in front of everybody, Klala Nimretzet, all the curses in the book. The head of the Bet Din is cursing him, not some homeless guy. Head of the Bet Din curses him in front of everybody, and he's the Melech, you can kill him. David HaMelech says, no, don't touch him. Avishai wanted to kill him, don't touch him. Why? Hashem allowed him to do it, that's it. It's Hashem, it's coming from Hashem. So Rabbeinu Zalman started crying, he says, yeah, I didn't fulfill the Gemara. Why? It affected me a little bit. No, not a lot. I'm not like God. It affected me a little bit. So I didn't fulfill the Gemara. I didn't answer. But that's, anybody can do that. It affected me. So that means I didn't fulfill the Gemara. So a person that gets to that level, where not only he doesn't answer, but it doesn't affect him. what all of these naysayers say, what all of these heretics say, what all these fakers say, is fulfilling the entire Torah. That's why first Halacha Shulchan Aruch, don't pay attention to any of these people that go against you and try to cool you off. First Halacha. In Avodat Hashem, all the way. All the way. What if everybody makes fun of you? For what? For following Hashem? If a dog started barking at you for eating something, what are you going to say? Dog, no, take the food. What are you going to do? Nothing. The dog. Somebody's making fun of you for doing what Hashem says. You're going to be offended? Oh, come on, why? Why are you wearing kisui rosh? Hashem said. No, but it's not modern, it's not this, not that. Modern. Hashem is modern. Hashem's been here since the beginning, he's going to be at the end. You're not. I will listen to him. He has more history than you. He has more knowledge about modern than you. When a person comes to Avodat Hashem, don't pay attention to anybody. Do what Hashem says. Do what Hashem says. So, Rav Wasserman says that some people looked at the Sefer Yochasin, the Book of Descent, they would see how they're connected to Moshe Rabbeinu, but this was lost. But Rav Wasserman says that their letters, these people that have assimilated into the non-Jewish world, their letters of descent will be found. How so? Their letters of descent will be examined, and their non-Aryan origin will be established. Who will find out that they are connected to Am Yisrael? Amalek. The Aryans. The Nazis. And this is before Nazi Germany. This is before the Holocaust. He's already telling us this. Mamash nevuah. Mamash prophecy. He's already telling us that the Nazis are already they're going to find all of you. What do you mean? We're in a government. We're in a politics. We're businessmen. The Nazis, those same Nazis, they're going to find out you're a Jew and you're not a German. You're a Jew. No, I'm a German already. I'm a third generation German. You're a Jew. You will always be a Jew. Same thing with people who live in America, or live in England, or live in Australia. You are a Jew. If you're a Jew, you're not Australian. You're not American. You will always remain a Jew. Whether you like it or you don't like it. And if you don't want to like it, guess what? The Goy is going to remind you to like it. Why? He'll judge you as a Jew. No, we're already 3-4 generations in America. You're a Jew. You're not American. What do you mean? I've never even been to Israel. You're not American. If you need the Goy to remind you, like they reminded us in Germany, they'll remind you, don't worry, Hashem's going to send them. Anyone that thinks that they're anything but a Jew once they're a Jew, simply mistaken. And that's what Rav Wasserman is saying over here. The letters of descent will be examined, and the non-Aryan origin will be established. They will be smitten upon their heads. Trach. And it will be clearly brought home to them. Meaning, they'll realize that they're being punished because they're Jews. Know that you are Jews, and that you are obliged to remain Jews. In a land where there is only one Jew to 1,000 Gentiles, there also will be, the Jew will be sought out and found. Meaning, even if you live in America, that has almost 400 million people, in comparison to what? 6 million Jews. That's relatively a small ratio. You're talking about less than 2% of the population. Rav Wasserman says, no, even if it's less than that, even if it's 1 out of 1,000, if you are 6 million out of the 1.5 billion Chinese, if you are 6 million out of the 8 billion goyim in the world, you'll still be found. In the end. They're still going to find you, they're still going to go against you because you're a Jew. It is at this stage that we have arrived today, he says. He says we're here today. And unfortunately, Rabotai, we're here today also. Anyone that's paying attention to the news, the treatment of Am Yisrael is changing a little bit. Since the last year, anti-Semitism in America has increased tremendously. Before COVID-19, we had riots in different Jewish neighborhoods. After that calmed down for a little bit, COVID-19 hit. Now that COVID-19 is somewhat settling down, anti-Semitism is settling back in. Why? Before it, they were torturing us, telling us that we have to start teaching secular subjects in yeshivot, telling us that, we have to teach the little kids about homosexuality, all types of things in the UK, in America, and all these different places. Then it calmed down because everybody was busy with COVID-19. Now we're back, and how many New Yorkers and Californians are complaining about the government rules for Jews, not for everybody? If you're a Jew, you have different rules. Why? If you're protesting, 10 million people, 5 million people, 5,000 people, whatever it is, protesting, destroying public property, no problem. COVID-19 is not relative to you. But if you are 10 Jews who want to go to synagogue, not allowed. Not allowed. 10,000 people protesting, allowed. Right to protest. 10 people praying to Hashem, not allowed. Non-Jewish park, allowed. Jewish park, problematic. Non-Jewish activities, allowed. Jewish sleepaway camp, not allowed. No camps this year. All types of strange and unique rules that show us what? Not that the government is bad. Anybody that thinks that the government is bad is simply an idiot that hasn't paid attention for 2 hours that I'm talking. It's not the government. Stop fighting the government. People are like making videos. Oh, look at Cuomo, look at Shomo, look at this Mo. Forget about these people. It's not the government. It's HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Rebuking us. Why? We've been following the wrong shepherds for way too long, so he's now hunting. The evolution of this step has not yet been completed, the Rav Wasserman says. But with great rapidity, it spreads from one country to another. When the first step is finished, and all the lost are found, then we'll start the second step, which is, and the estranged I will bring back. We see that from the time of the Holocaust, it became impossible to be a Jew that's not on the map anymore. There used to be groups of Jewish people that were simply in different parts of the world, you didn't even know they existed. It's no longer possible. From the time of the Holocaust, pretty much at that point, from that point forward, everybody knows where every Jew is in the world. There are Jews in Switzerland, there are Jews in France, there are Jews in Israel, there are Jews in America. Everybody knows that there's Jewish communities everywhere. Shtabach Shemo. You can't hide. And it's not because we want to be on the map, we simply are. So Rav Wasserman says that after that, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will fulfill the second part, which is, He'll bring back the estranged. Who are the estranged? Those people that were masortim, the people that were keeping, traditional Jews. They would go to shul like I used to, once, twice, 3 times a year. Why? Yom Kippur, I'm going to shul. Rosh Hashanah, I'm going to shul. Pesach, sometimes. Shabbat, no, not so much. Every day, not so much. Why? I'm busy, I'm working, I'm this, I'm that. Kadosh Baruch Hu says, I'm going to bring those people back. How am I going to bring those people back? He's going to send them the emet in all different ways. He's going to allow people to invent something called the internet. He's going to allow mass distribution of books. He's going to allow certain things to come into the creation that didn't exist at the time this was written. Today, it's easier to get Torah than it is to get food. If you want it. Because the lost are included in the first stage, he says, I will bring back the estranged only because the lost are included in the first stage. Finally, I will bandage the broken. That will be fulfilled. Now, in the above mentioned prophecy by Yecheskel, one should notice the words, my sheep err. Says my Yishogu Tzoni. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says that my sheep, they're making an error, meaning that their sins are not, by the vast majority of them, are not purposeful, meaning they're not going against me because they don't like God. Yes, there are many lefty, liberal heretics that are also evil people, and there are also people that pretend to be religious that are outright evil people, like some of the people I've been talking to today and for the last couple of weeks, and you'd be surprised how evil people are. But that's not the majority, Baruch Hashem. Unfortunately, most are making a mistake, either by going against the Torah one way or the other, but they're not, inside, they're not evil. And he says, look, when Hashem talks about his sheep, about his people, he says, my sheep, they err. They are making a mistake. From here we see that the mass of the people, apart from its leaders, meaning excluding the leaders, the mass of the people is reckoned before God as erring, meaning making sins b'shogeg, accidental sins, simply lack of logic, lack of knowledge, ignorance. Were it not for the leaders who set up an iron barrier between Israel and their Father in heaven, it would not be impossible to bring the masses back to Torah. He says, what do we learn from Yechezkel here? That these people, these sheep, Am Yisrael, HaKadosh Baruch Hu's children, they're making a mistake, but it's a mistake. It's not dafka going against Hashem. Why? Because of the barrier being put by the leaders themselves. And if it wasn't for that barrier, he says, it wouldn't be impossible to bring everybody to do tshuva. Meaning to such an extent, the leaders are so bad, the prophet says, that the leaders are so bad that if it wasn't for them, all of Am Yisrael would do tshuva. Imagine, your brother, your cousin, your mother, your father, everybody going to Gan Eden with you. Everybody keeps Torah, everybody keeps mitzvot. No one has to feel uncomfortable that you're putting on kisuros, or you have a kippah on, you have your tzitzit out, you have your tzitzit in, you're religious. Nobody would give you word about, nobody would give you anything. Nobody would tell you, how come you take off so many days? Nothing, you wouldn't have to fight for religion. Why? Because everybody you know is religious and excited about it. Why do you have to fight for it? Because of the fake leaders, the shepherds. He says because of them it's impossible to bring the masses back to Torah. Why is it impossible? He says because the teachers, the guides, the writers, the party leaders, it is they who prevent the radiance of the Torah from penetrating the darkness of men's hearts. They have their own Torah. They have their own Torah sages. They have their own Gdolim. It says the Torah that these heretic shepherds have, it's their own Torah. It's not the Torah we have in Mount Sinai. Their Gdolim, their rabbis, they have rabbis. It's not all rabbis. Somebody else. They look up to the self-help gurus, the Tony Robbins of the world, the Donald Trumps of the world, the successes, the guy with the money, not the guy that's called the Rambam. Rambam, yeah, no, he's from 800 years ago, 900 years ago. I need something more modern. Says they have their own Torah, their own people. It is they who prevent the radiance of the Torah from penetrating the darkness of men's hearts. They have their own Torah sages, their own Gdolim. Through their medium of a new Torah and new precepts, they cause darkness to rule in the minds and in the hearts of Am Yisrael. It is also noteworthy that when the real opportunity is given to the masses to hear the word of the true Torah, they drink it in and it eagerly. Many times you're going to come to one of these fake rabbis that has a big Bet Knesset, and you tell him, listen, Rabbi, why don't you bring Rabbi Yaron Reuven, or Rabbi Mizrahi, or Rabbi Ephraim, or one of these people that actually helps people do tshuva. No, they're too strict. Wait, he invented new Torah? He has new halachot? Show me which book, where did he write this? No, he's too strict for people, he's going to turn them off. by telling them that if they violate Shabbat, Hashem's going to kill them. He's going to turn them off by telling them what the Torah says. He's going to turn them off. They always tell you that. People always ask me, listen, Rabbi, I have somebody that I want to help him do TeShuva, but is there like some other way that's like, not scary? Because maybe it's going to turn them off. This mentality, Rabotai, is heretical. Why? In essence, what you're saying is the Torah is limited. Rav Wasserman says, and I've seen it with my own eyes. People ask me, what do you have problems with? People, this kila, that kila? I said, no. People, I don't have a problem with. The overwhelming majority of people that I have ever spoken to, have attended my classes, overwhelming, Baruch Hashem, majority of them, and I'm talking majority like in upper 90 percentile, love the shiurim. Even if I talk about Gehenom, even if I talk about stuff that's really scary, even if I'm scared myself of talking about it, love the shiurim. Even if they don't necessarily do everything that the Torah says, they love the shiurim. People do not have a problem with this Torah. Just like Wasserman says, most people, in fact, I like this guy. He's honest. Yeah, but you don't even keep Shabbat. He's talking about you. Yeah, I know, I have to fix myself. No, he's saying that you're going to die if you don't keep Shabbat. He goes, no, I know he's saying. He's honest with me. At least he cares. He's talking about the not modest woman. You're the not modest woman he's talking about. Yeah, I know, I have to change. People love the truth. Love it. Even if they're not fulfilling it right now, they know it's the truth, they accept it. Which means what? Rav Wasserman is already telling us what we're living. He said it's not the people that are going to reject the Torah. It's not the masses. It's the people that tell you, no, I can't bring them to the shul because they'll turn them off. Wait, but you never turned anybody else off. Show me a large group of people you turned off. Can't find them. Nowhere in the world. You're going to find one here, one there, but that's a person that's like one of the shlichim of the Malach HaMavet. It's not masses. Who's off? By default, the leaders. Why? Because they want to keep people off. They want to keep people ignorant. And that's what Rav Wasserman says is going to be before Mashiach comes. A large amount of leaders that are going to hold people back from learning the truth. Because if the masses have an opportunity once in a blue moon to hear the true Torah, they drink its words eagerly. But the leaders, what at least the leaders? Why don't they teach them real Torah? You don't want to bring Rabbi Reuven, you don't want to bring anybody that says the truth? No problem. Why don't you teach it yourself? Rav Wasserman says, but the leaders, they bring the people stones instead of pearls. Instead of Jewish ashkafa, like Torah ideals, they give their readers and their hearers ideas of heresy and atheism. They give them jokes. They give them making fun of the Torah. And more than a liberal portion of obscenity and formed the material of their chief writing and speeches. These are the leaders whom the prophet foresaw for our generation. Here, the Rav Wasserman is telling us in so many words that his generation, and needless to say our generation, is not going to be held back by rules of the Torah, or by the generation, or iPhone, or internet. To the contrary. All of those different tools are opportunities for us to connect to Hashem. The only thing that's holding us back is the fact that we're allowing ourselves to be led by false leaders, shepherds that care about their own pocket and their own stomach, and not about the people themselves. Now, many times, people like to say, yeah, but what about the fact that there's many people that are tinok shenishba, they were born into a non-religious family, not to cover the same thing again, but to explain to you how much this is a fool's errand that people keep chasing. As I've explained, the whole issue of tinok shenishba is, which in essence literally means a captured baby, because in the old days the Christians used to steal Jewish babies and tell them they're Christians and not Jewish, so that kid will grow up and not even know that he's supposed to be fulfilling the Torah. So he cannot be judged as a full-blown Jew because he doesn't even know he's Jewish. So people say, some Chachamim say that yes, some people that are in the world and they were brought up in a secular family should be judged the same way. Now, so many people today, these false shepherds, as the prophet calls them, these shepherds, they like to use that argument. Yeah, but this guy, he always grew up, secular, so he's a tinok shenishba. So you tell him, yeah, but tinok shenishba only is an halachic term of how you treat him while he's in this world, not how you treat him after he dies. What does that mean? If somebody violates Shabbat knowingly, meaning he knows that you're supposed to keep Shabbat, he just doesn't feel like it. Doesn't feel like it, he wants to work, he wants to go to the beach, he doesn't want to keep Shabbat. That person is considered, according to halacha, 100% an idol worshiper. And if he touches your wine, you're not allowed to drink that wine. If he says he wants to be a witness in your wedding, as one of the two witnesses, you're not allowed to allow him, because if he's a witness, your wedding is not valid. If he slaughters a cow, even if he follows all the steps, you're not allowed to eat that meat. It's tarif. And so on and so forth. Why? Because he knowingly violates Shabbat, you have to treat him like he's an idol worshiper. Now what about a tinok shenishba? Meaning someone that doesn't really know about Judaism. He knows he's a Jew, but doesn't really know anything because he lived in some kibbutz or something like that. He says, that guy is sinning, but you don't treat him the same way. Meaning, that guy, if he touches your wine, you can still drink it. You can still drink it. You don't have to, he's not a full-blown idol worshiper. But you have to get him to do tshuva. Now what about after these people die? Does the tinok shenishba go to heaven and the guy that sins on purpose go to Gehenom? No, they both go to Gehenom. Who goes to heaven? People that do mitzvot. There is no tinok shenishba in Gan Eden. Gan Eden is reserved for people that have done tshuva and fulfilled their life full of mitzvot. That's what Gan Eden is for. But the fake shepherds will tell you, no, the Rebbe is going to save you, or this one's going to save you, or I'm going to save you. Okay, so next time one of these jokesters come to you, this is what you do. Tell, listen, Rabbi, so tinok shenishba, so in reality nothing matters? Yeah, you're good. Okay, good. Listen, Rabbi, you know how to wed people? How to make a wedding? Yeah, sure. Okay, so my friend is going to get married, and he wants you to be the rabbi. And I'm the one that's setting everything up. Oh, mabruk, mazal tov. After the whole mazal tov fakeness, after the whole stops, tell, okay, Rabbi, listen, so this is how it's going to be. He's going to be the bride, the groom, his wife is going to be the bride, you're going to be the rabbi. Okay, great, we just need to get witnesses. No, I already took care of that, Rabbi. I'm going to be the Mechal Shabbat. I'm going to be the witness. And Jose, my friend, he's also going to be a witness. No, you can't be the witness. All right, because Jose is not Jewish? Okay, no problem. You know what? I'll bring my brother, he works with me on Shabbat in our store, so I'll be the witness also. He's a good guy. No, what do you mean? Rabbi, you said I'm a full-blown Jew, I'm a tinok shenishba. Why can't I be a witness? Why can't I be a witness in the wedding? How come I can't be a witness? Rabbi, I'm not going to hire you then. Yeah, maybe it's not for me, this wedding. Reality is, Rabotai, he knows. He knows. When you put him, you catch him, and you show him a real-life example of putting yourself, or somebody, it's a mechalel Shabbat, in a position that's forbidden, that rabbi will show his true colors. I'll tell you, no, I can't do it. Listen, my friend, he works on Shabbat, but he does shchita, he's the best in the business. So he just does it on Shabbat, it's okay, right? It's kosher, right? It's kosher cow, everything's good. No. Why not? Tinok shenishba. No. Chabotai, when it suits them, they'll tell you you're tinok shenishba. When it doesn't suit them, they'll tell you, no, let's try to figure out a different way. Let's try a different way. And they'll come up with all types of excuses of why you don't need this and why you don't need that. Why? Because what are they concerned with? They're not concerned about the sheep. They're concerned about their stomach. And that's why a person needs to be very, very careful who he listens to, who he calls his rabbi, who he prays with, who he learns with. He has to be very careful. You have to understand, you're going to have most likely at least 3 different rabbis. One is the posek. If you're a Sfaradi or Ashkenazi, you have to have a posek. Most of the time, your posek is not alive. So Rav Ovadia, if you're Sfaradi, that's for all Sfaradim, we go by Rav Ovadia. So that's your posek, that's one rabbi. Then you're going to have a rabbi that's a local rabbi, your local shul. You don't have to be best friends with that rabbi. You probably don't even have to necessarily talk to him. You have to be nice to him, but you go pray to shul, you leave. Don't be involved in any politics. That rabbi is a rabbi they use locally for different minimal things. Then you have the third rabbi. What's the third rabbi? That's the mashpia. That's the one that influences you. That's the one that you ask the big questions. That's the one that you learn the most Torah from. That's the rabbi. That rabbi doesn't have to be local. Doesn't have to be alive even. But you have to listen to everything he says. Why? If you don't, you're simply rabbi-less. You're rabbi-less if you don't listen to him. Yeah, but I listen to some of the stuff he says, some of the stuff that he says. Can't do that. You have to have somebody, that's your main guy. Why? Because if you pick a little bit of roses and a little bit of apples, it may look good in the picture, but not so much in a salad. Different rabbis, that as far as the influencer, you have to have something that's the main thing. You have to. Even if you like multiple rabbis, you listen to multiple rabbis, it's not a problem. And trust me when I tell you, most people do not want to be a rabbi. The more righteous they are, the more they don't want to be a rabbi. Why? Because it's a big responsibility. But the key is that you have to have certain things. Now, if your rabbi is, let's say, he's a good local rabbi, doesn't mean that he has to be your rabbi. If he is a good mashpia, a good speaker, but he's not necessarily what you're looking for as someone's going to influence, fine, you could listen to him, but he doesn't have to be your main rabbi. The point being is that you have to have a rabbi, but the most critical part is that you have to make sure that whoever's in those roles is not one of these wicked shepherds that's more concerned about his belly than he is about your Olam HaBa. Because if you have one of those, that's a very dangerous relationship. If your rabbi is asking you to constantly chip in, to pay for the expenses of the shul, for the expenses of the community, but you're still not even keeping Shabbat, and he's never mentioned a word to you about it, most likely, he's one of the bad shepherds. If every time you talk to him it's about money, it's not a good sign. It's not a good sign. If every time he comes to your house it's to collect, it's not a good sign. I'm not saying he's necessarily 100% Erev Rav, but it's not a good sign. If the topic of conversation is constantly money, it's not a good sign. Because what happens is, naturally, if we look at things we desire, eventually we become obsessed with them. If you go on some menu. If you don't look at the menu, you could pick what you want to eat in 3 minutes, at most, sometimes 30 seconds. You start looking at a menu, the bigger it is, the more difficult it is to make a decision. Why? You would think if I go to a restaurant that has 500-page menu, so many choices, it'll be easier to make. Opposite. The bigger the menu, the more difficult it is to make a choice. Why? Because you start visualizing all the things on the menu and you eating them. Ooh, Sunday. Yeah, well, it's only Monday, but I want a Sunday. Okay, wow, ooh, the berries in there. Yeah, but I want to eat meat. Steak. What is steak? Oh, burger. Oh, eggs. 40 minutes later, he's on page 6 of 300. Eggs, with tuna, without tuna. Well, tuna sounds good with ketchup, without ketchup, with mayo, with this. Why? He's desiring himself. You go house shopping. If you already have an idea before you are, what you want, you can pick a house pretty quickly. You start looking at these websites that show you all the different houses, you start, oh yeah, but the floor, it's not really straight the way I want it. It's not really a perfect square. I want a rectangle with a square, but with but it's white, yeah, but the reflection from the sun on the outside is not enough natural light. I really need natural light. You're never even home. What natural light? And when you're home, it's dark. But you're looking at the pictures and you're imagining yourself living in all these places. And then if you go to the car lot, 5 years to pick a car. Why? There's so many cars. You go to the car lot, you come out drunk. If you already know what car you are, it's the same one, just a newer model, 5 seconds, you pick a car. Why? If you're constantly looking at things you desire, you're going to desire them even more. When you are constantly talking about money, even if the rabbi is a good guy, every time he talks, it's money, 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 no Torah, guess what? He starts desiring money. He starts looking at you like a money sign. You start looking at him like a money sign. Every time I talk to this rabbi, it's money, man. Yeah, but you're the one that offered. Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, but you're the one that's giving. You're the one that's giving. He didn't come to you for the money. Yeah, but I don't know. It's like an I don't know. Like, already. Why? Because you have to make sure Torah stays clean. Now, of course, money is going to be involved at some point if you want it to be. But that shouldn't be the main thing. And a good rabbi will make sure of that. We'll finish off with this story so you understand what it means to aspire to be a gadol. Mordechai Eliyahu, alav shalom, came to America one time. I believe it was in Los Angeles. And one of the people in the Keilah says, Kvod Rav, if the Rav will please come with us to the guy that built the shul, come with us to his house. He has a certain issue he wants to talk to you about. So the Rav says, no problem. So he comes to his house, Motzei Shabbat. The guy's house, several floors of glory, huge mansion, millions and millions of dollars, very successful person. To get to the kitchen, even though they're big houses, they still have kitchens, believe it or not. And he sits with the rich man in the kitchen with his helper over there. And he sees this rich, successful person start crying like a little baby. He says, B'nai Yakar, why are you crying? My son, why are you crying? He says, Kvod Rav, you see all of this? It means nothing. He says, you don't have to tell me that, son. No, Kvod Rav, I mean, it means nothing because my son is about to marry a Goya. And there's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing I can do about it. I talked to him, the rabbi is here, talked to him, nothing. If the rabbi can do something about it, I'm going to write the rabbi a check for $10 million. But Mordechai Eliyahu looks at him and says, where's your son? He says, upstairs. Mordechai Eliyahu leaves them, the helper and the guy are there. Goes upstairs for 40 minutes, sits with the guy, with the kid. 40 minutes he's sitting. Till this day, no one knows what he said to him. But after 40 minutes, both of them come out, and the young guy, he's in his early 20s, is crying like a little baby. Starts kissing his father's hands. Abba, I'm sorry, I just finished it, I called her, that's it, everything is off. Everything is off, I'm sorry, I'm going to find a Jewish woman, I'm sorry for going against you. Tzaddik. TeShuva, 40 minutes. No one knows what he said to him. 40 minutes later, they've been fighting him for months. Nothing. The rabbi's here, the rabbi's there. All types of people, all types of proofs, this, that. Nothing worked. Rabbi Mordechai Eliyahu goes up to his room, sits down with him. 40 minutes later, like a little tatale. Little Yaakov Avinu comes out of the room, crying, hysterical, I'm sorry, Abba. The guy gets so excited, takes out his checkbook, $10 million. It's easy to write $10 million, only a few digits. Let's try it. Now, writes a check. Rabbi, don't come out to the rabbi. Who does he give it to? To the helper. The rabbi didn't pay attention, he didn't see it. He was so happy the kid did TeShuva, that's it, Shavua Tov, and he leaves. As they're walking to the car, you know, these big houses, they have big lawns. It takes like 20 minutes just to get to the car. So, Ishtabach Shimo, they get to the car, and he sees that his Gabai, also Tamil Chacham, he sees that he's like a little elated, you know, what happened, buddy, what happened? He goes, Rabbi, we're going to be able to do it, Kvod Rav, all the yeshivot, all the mosdot, all the things that what the rabbi wanted to build, we're finally going to be able to do it. He says, what do you mean? Finally going to be able to do it. He goes, Rabbi, look, I got it, look. He shows him a check for $10 million. Look at it, give it to me. Here, Rabbi, come back. Takes him inside. They go back inside. Shavua Tov. What? Oh, Rabbi, you forgot something? Yes, ego. What? What? Kvod Rav, not anything? No, chas v'shalom. This is your money. It's not my money. No, Kvod Rav, I'm giving you. No, I said, no, I don't care what you said. This is your money. Why Kvod Rav? I mean, it's okay, whatever. I know you don't do it for money and everything, you're tzaddik, everything, but I want to give. No, take your money. But why though? He says, listen, if there was even 1% of me that did it for the money, that siyata dishmaya that I had, that divine assistance that I had to make your son do tshuva in 40 minutes, guess where it would be? Some other country, not here. Your son would never do tshuva. The only reason it worked, the only reason people do tshuva in such large numbers is because I do it for free. Not for money, not for nothing. No self-interest. The second I am nagua, I have a self-interest in it. I'm doing it for kavod, I'm doing it for money, I'm doing it for this or for that or for views or for likes. Guess what? No more baalei tshuva. They all go bye-bye. To who? To someone that's doing it for the right reason. HaKadosh Baruch Hu does not help people that are simply going to help people do tshuva, but because they're going to get paid for it. It's a very good business. To be in the kiruv business, if you're in it for long enough, you can make a ton of money. Why? Tell people whatever you want. Tell people, listen, what? Your tinok shenishba, Hashem loves you, have emunah, tell your wife everything she wants to hear. Donate, ding, campaign, $1 million, $2 million. People will start raising money for you. Rabbis will raise money for you. Why? Tell people whatever they want. But you want to get baalei tshuva? You want to get real people to do tshuva in large numbers? Can't do it for money. Yeah, there's money maybe exchanging hands, but everyone knows clearly that they can't buy you for even a half a second because of money. They're not going to change your Torah for half a second because of money. Your advice, your guidance is 100% Torah, whether it's to a donor or to a hater. Whether it's to a person that donates $30,000 a year, or $30 million a year, or $300 a year. Doesn't make change. Why? The second your Torah changes, it's no longer Torah. Lo b'shamayim. It's not from heaven anymore. And it's not going to help people. It'll destroy them. This is why sometimes you're going to go to certain places, like this Rasha that I talked to last week. I told him, how long you have this keilah that you don't have any ruv? He says, 15 years. Why don't you have any ruv after 15 years? Oh, it's horse and carriage. Meaning, the entire keilah drives on Shabbat. After 15 years. Rabotai, if after 15 shiurim, you don't do serious tshuva to change your life, please don't come anymore. I have failed you miserably, I'm not the vessel. 15 shiurim. In fact, it should be less. If you haven't changed a little bit, every shiur, you should either watch it again or just don't come. Why? I failed. Miserably. 15 years you don't help the person? How about this? If I smash my head against the wall for 15 years, I'll definitely change. If I smash don't say anything to me, but if I smash my head against the wall for 15 years, for sure I'm doing tshuva. So if smashing my head against the wall for 15 years will work, but your speech didn't work for 15 years, something's wrong. Maybe you should stop talking and just let them say, Rabotai, do tshuva, smash your head against the wall for 15 years. It works better than my speech. How could an entire keilah still drive on Shabbat for 15 years? And the guy doesn't care. There's no care in the world. And I'm not even calling him a Rasha because of that. You know why I'm calling him a Rasha? You know why he's such a Rasha? And his friend is a Rasha, and many of his people that are in the same group, Reshaim, HaRo'im. You know why they're all Reshaim? Why did I call this guy? Why, is he my friend? Why, I need friends? No. You know why I said? Listen, I'm looking to start a new keilah. Why? Where I live, there's already enough. Can't really build anything new here. I want to go somewhere else. So I heard about your place over there. I didn't know you lived there, but I heard you're there. So I figured maybe I'll call you. And now I'm hearing that you don't have any roof, so maybe we should join forces. I'll give you the money, help, and share the exchange with you. And I'll have a shul in there. And I'll have my yeshiva in there, whatever I want to build. And you continue. I'm not going to be next door to you. This is a big room. America's, Baruch Hashem, very big. Pretty much we're going to be 20, 30, 40-minute distance from each other. No, it's a huge place. It's not like I'm going to be next door to you. You're afraid that your people are going to come to me. But we're going to share some expense. So everybody benefits. So even though they're sinning because they're driving, at least when they're carrying their talit, it's not another sin. They already sinned enough. You know what he says to me? No. What do you mean? Why are you coming here? Why are you coming here? Why would you come here? I'm here. I said, yeah, but you have 50 people in your shul, 100 people in your shul. There's at least 2,000, 3,000 people in that surface. At least. What do you care if I come? What? No. This is my territory. It's my territory. So what do you mean it's your territory? Well, you bought the whole thing? No, but why would you come if there's already a place? I said, because there's a lot of people. The world is big. Why do you want a war? I said, who's talking about a war? I just want to help people do chuva. What war? What are you talking? Who even mentioned the word war? I just want to go over there and just teach Torah. That's it. No. If I need help, I'll just bring more people for my group. I'm not even going to mention the name of the group, but most of you could figure out who it is. No, if I want any more help, I'll bring more people from my group. So you'd rather not have anything than instead of having just a little bit of emet in your community. A little bit. You'd rather have nothing. Why? If it's not your emet, if it's not your distorted emet, it's better off having nothing at all. That's Rasha. And the Torah curses such people. What curse? Ahu. The worst curse in the Torah. Unfortunately, Rabotai, this happened to me twice in the same day. 2 different communities. Both said the same exact thing. Do I care? No, I'm still going. They can blow up for all I care. But this is what we're dealing with. These people are called kvod harav by some people. Now you say, yeah, maybe it's because they don't like you personally. Guess what? They don't even know who I am. I didn't tell them who I am. I'm this, I'm that. They don't know who I am. Meaning it's Rabbi ABC. They have no idea who I am. So you can't say, no, maybe it's because you said this and you're against this. No. They don't know who I am. It's anybody that's not part of their cult, not allowed. Why? It's all about money. They're saying that, we already got this territory covered. We got 4 of us over here. Yeah, but there's, 40,000 people. Even if all of your shuls were packed, you can't even pack in 4,000 people. Even if all your yeshivot are packed, you can't do anything. No, it's our territory. If we need more, we'll get more of our cult. Why? It's all money. It's all money, unfortunately, Rabotai. And guess how they get money? From you. From the sheep. That want to hear somebody tell them good job. They want somebody to tell them chazaku baruch for their sins. They want somebody to tell them you're a tinok shenishba, you're not obligated to do everything. That's how they build these monuments that teach kfirah. One place in Parkland has at least $30-40 million building. Huge monstrosity of a building. You'd say, why? It's a good Jewish building. Why do you have such a problem with it, Rabbi? Because the rabbi there married a Goya with a Kohen. And said, no, she converted, as if it's allowed anyway. Why? Because that guy donates big checks, big ones. 7-figure checks. You donate 7-figure checks, you can marry whoever you want. Rabbi's going to take you to Gan Eden. Okay, no, we'll see. We'll find out later. That's what happens, Rabotai. They sold us out. But it's our fault. Why? We keep telling them, Chazaku Baruch Rabbi. This is where we are in the letter. We haven't finished this part. We're going to complete this part next week. But I can tell you, Rabotai, it's only going to get even more interesting as we see more and more of what Rav Wasserman wrote nearly 100 years ago in our reality today. It's scary how real it is. It's scary how modern it is. It's scary how much all of it is happening, because if all of that happened back then, and all of it is happening right now, whatever happened after it, chas v'shalom, can happen again. Like, you can say never again about the Holocaust as much as you want until you burn, you turn blue in the face. Saying never again doesn't mean anything in Shamayim. He warned us, and we didn't listen. Question is, how many of us are actually going to listen this time? That we have not only the warning, but also clear examples of what happens when we ignore the warnings. And not just examples from 3,000 years ago, at the time of the Bet HaMikdash of 2,000 years ago, or the Spanish Inquisition of 500-600 years ago, or, no, 70 years ago. There's still people that survived to tell the story, that were there. I met a few of them. Some of you that have been with me for a few years, remember that one of them used to come to the shurim on a regular basis. Reality is, Rabotai, is that this is real. And it's happening. And he's not saying it's the fault of the masses because the masses hate God. But rather because the masses are allowing the leaders, the shepherds, to continue leading without going against them, without saying anything against them. And that's our fault. That part is our fault. And that's why we have to continuously learn more and more Torah, publicize more and more Torah, but make sure that it's emet. It's 100% emet, because that's the only recipe that works. Nothing else works. Nothing else works. There's only one version of the Torah. That's the version that we want to learn. That's the version we want to teach. And Be'ezrat Hashem, we will have the merit to continue doing so. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen ve'amen.